The last thing that happened was Wyatt was telling Shizenno to go over somewhere else so this guy could talk. Shizenno said no and pushed this guy further to the ground.
Yeah, if Shizenno is attacking this person, I'm grappling her.
Can I also use the help action?
Sure. Did you draw your weapon or anything?
Yeah, I was going to try to behead him.
Okay.
I believe that's what I said.
If we're trying to do something at the same time, everybody roll for initiative. So then Arrow.
Does Shizenno look very clearly like she's about to attack?
Yeah, she has drawn her weapon.
All right, I'm gonna grapple Shizenno and say, "What are you doing?"
You are grappled.
Like, what would generally be the punishment if you're like just talking shit about the Emperor?
Most of the time,
especially if it's like treasonous to the point where like you think the Emperor should be overthrown.
The people that they kill are usually, if you're like an enemy, like if you're at war or something, if you are infected with taint, those are pretty much the only two extreme cases. Most of the time, for like half of the crimes, they just throw you in jail for life.
He's an enemy to the Emperor. He's trying to spread treasonous lies. He needs to die.
I don't know anything about the Emperor, but maybe you should like hear him out. We don't know this guy.
We just did hear him out. He just talked.
I don't think that's a reason to kill somebody.
I do.
Well, if you're going to try to kill this guy, I'm going to stop you.
You can try.
I'll try and stop you too. What makes you think that this person isn't telling the truth? What makes you trust the Emperor so much?
Yeah, how much do you really know about the Emperor anyways?
Right, yeah.
I've lived with him for over 100 years, so pretty well.
Maybe you lived in his palace, but did you live with him one-on-one?
Yes, pretty much. I lived like directly under him. I sat in on like all the war meetings and everything, so yeah.
I'm feeling kind of sus about this still.
I mean, I'm sure the Emperor's a smart dude. I'm sure he could deceive anybody he'd want to, even if they lived with him. How do you know that this guy is not telling the truth? How do you know?
It's not even a thought I can like allow into my head here. I don't believe for a second that he's telling the truth.
I will not let you pass judgment on this man, especially by taking his life, if you don't have solid evidence that he is lying.
Do that.
I know people in power that can definitely try and deceive their underlings. It's definitely happened before, so I completely think he might be telling the truth.
I mean, if this guy, is really doing something that requires a punishment by death, don't you think he deserves at least a trial first? Does he not deserve to stand trial?
Is there such a thing as a trial in WoW, or do we just kind of do what we do?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, perfect.
Even if we keep anything this guy says as a secret or it's just lies, how would someone who is supposed to be a foreign diplomat being imprisoned for 200 years then being murdered in the streets gonna go over when I tell my dad we found him and then watched him die?
It doesn't sound like it's going to look good for the Emperor if you kill a foreign diplomat. That's correct.
I feel like that won't help your case in Faerun to build an embassy.
We can bring him back to prison then. We can either give him to the authorities to go back to prison, or we can kill him. Those are my two options.
We're giving him to the authorities then.
But then again, you think who do the authorities serve, and who's saying that the authorities aren't as devoted to the Emperor as Shizenno is, I think this is
It should be exactly devoted as.
I mean, look, like I don't really know like how stuff works around here, but I'm not, this isn't my country. I just don't think that anybody in our group should be killing people in the street. We can turn them over to the authorities and they can handle it the way that they handle it.
But it is my country, and you're stopping me from obeying the law.
Well, you're my friend, and I'm not going to let you murder an innocent person in the street.
He's not innocent. He broke the law. In fact, twice he broke out of prison. Which I guess actually it's 3 times because he got in prison. He's broken 3 laws.
But I don't know this guy's situation. Who's to say he's really the bad guy in this situation? Maybe your Emperor did kill somebody.
Very tense. I'm not going to say anything, but I'm thinking it.
Abby, what do you know about this Rydell O'Lyra? Are they do they have any ulterior motives? Do they seem like a trustworthy person?
I just know he was working for my dad. He left way before I was even born, so I'm not quite sure. I don't know what sort of deal my dad was trying to bargain with the Emperor or make demands. I don't know.
Is your father in the business of dealing with liars?
He's in the business of dealing with people who get what they want. I'm not sure what this information, if it was a lie, would get them besides grief.
And I want to be clear, it is a lie, so we don't need to discuss that.
Prove it.
Yeah, prove it.
He spoke against the Emperor. The Emperor is perfect.
Prove that.
That's just the truth.
Shizenno, I do like you, but you're not making a very strong case for your Emperor, unfortunately. I also don't know that I would trust the local authorities to fairly prosecute this person.
Well, what do you think we should do? Do you think we should just let him go? I mean, he obviously, maybe he was in prison, so maybe he's not a good guy per se.
But then again, I mean, it seems like the legal authorities of this area may not be the most impartial, if you get what I mean. So, who knows?
They should be loyal to the emperor.
What if the emperor himself commits treason? Then who should you be loyal to?
Do you commit treason against yourself?
Isn't what this...
He's not a president.
Right, he doesn't serve
Isn't
a
the
country.
thing that this
He is
elf
the
said that
god.
he did kind of pretty f***ing bad?
Isn't what pretty bad?
The thing that this guy's claiming he did?
That
Yeah,
he murdered his wife.
Yeah.
That's how we know he's lying.
Wouldn't that be like kind of... I mean, I guess not really if he's the one who owns everything.
Shizenno, when you hear Arrow say that, if he's the guy who kind of owns everything, that in the past, before this emperor, the empire had been matrilineal.
I'll ignore that.
The laws have changed now since they're the emperor.
They've been corrected.
Shizenno, what are you afraid of happening if this information gets out?
I'm afraid of foreigners getting involved in our politics and starting a war.
Why would they?
If they believe the lies, I don't know.
I mean, it seems like a pretty internal affair.
Yeah.
Then why is he trying to make it external?
I don't know. I don't know this guy's motives either. But I mean, I know you, but I don't know the emperor, and I don't know this guy. And I feel like you're making some pretty brash decisions right now, so I'm not really sure if...
I'm just trying to obey the law.
Shizenno, what's so great about the emperor?
Pretty much everything, really.
How bad would it be if this guy was telling the truth?
He's not.
Let's just live in a scenario for a second where he is, right?
No.
Just humor me, Shizenno.
No.
What if he is telling the truth? How bad would that be for your country?
Well, he would just be killed. What do you mean? If this gets spread to anyone, we kill anyone it spreads to.
No.
So us?
Imagine a scenario where the emperor did kill the empress. Like, what would that mean for you or for your country?
I would imagine massive civil war.
Huh.
I mean, everyone would pretty much be crushed. Like, it's fine. The emperor would be fine.
Shizenno, maybe we should do some critical thinking here, right? Let's talk about what you know about the death of the empress and the emperor's daughter. In your eyes, do you know who killed the emperor's daughter and the empress?
There were rumors that some elf had done it, and I know this guy disappeared around the same time, and he's put in prison.
Why would some elf want to kill the empress and the emperor's daughter?
If we get back to Faerun, and my dad asked me if I found Rydell, and I say, yes, he murdered the Empress 180 years ago, and he's been thrown in prison for the rest of his life, and people come to look for him or to deal with that, then what?
Why would they come look for him?
Because he's not a citizen of Wa?
It's kind of interesting how the one person that survived ended up taking power.
Live reporting their murderer in prison.
Right,
I
but
mean,
how
if somebody from the outside were to have seen something like that happen, wouldn't it be pretty easy to pin it on them?
It would also be pretty easy to pin it on the emperor at the time.
Yeah, but how has this elf benefited from the death of the empress and the emperor, and how has your emperor benefited from the death of the empress and the emperor's daughter? Let's talk about who
Sounds like
benefited
elves are
from
God.
this murder a little bit more than the other person.
He may have benefited more if he didn't get caught.
I'm going to look over at Rydell and be like, you're being awfully quiet. Do you have anything to say about this? Where's your proof?
Well, Shizenno's grappled, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to swing my Nagamaki at him. At disadvantage.
I mean, that hits. So as you are swinging at him, he says, please, it was not me. The child is alive. Kindael. And then his head rolls on the ground.
I'm going to look really angry at Shizenno and say, what the hell is wrong with you?
You don't obey the law. I would get in way more trouble if I didn't obey the law than if I didn't obey you.
Bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very, very visibly angry at Shizenno. How dare you disobey me in this situation? This person could have been innocent. Your emperor could be a murderer. And this person had all of the information we needed, and you...
Erlen touches your shoulder. You see, like, some people kind of looking at you, too, yelling, and she's like, maybe we should move this along.
I'll take a deep breath and I'll compose myself. I'll glare at Shizenno, and then I'll walk away. I'll take a walk. I'll be back in a few minutes, and I start walking away.
Going away in disgust.
Erlen says to Shizenno, she says, are you just going to leave him here?
No, I'll move him. I'll carry him to the authorities.
I'm going to look at Erlen and be like, is that okay?
She says, unfortunately, we are not here to make waves, diplomatically, at least. What we need here is extremely important, so unfortunately, we have to do our best to appease the emperor.
I'm gonna look upset and do the clenched fist Arthur meme.
I'll come back in a few minutes and I'll.
Like, who would generally be in charge in like a random ass town?
Some random ass cop.
Yeah.
Are you a cop, Shizenno?
I mean, are there like police and what? Probably not.
No.
Would it be a soldier?
Probably. It would probably be like if a shogun was around, they would order like some like people to come deal with it.
Oh, well, Shogun is around, so I'll order some people that can deal with it.
Yeah, so you do that. A couple of merchants come over and they're like looking around, like trying to help, but obviously the person got their head cut off, so like, and somebody brings over like a wagon, like a wheelbarrow. Okay, so are you heading on towards the palace?
It's up to Erilyn. Wyatt really isn't in the position to make moves right now.
She says, "All right, come on, let's go." You head up this C-shaped cliff that goes from like the shore kind of gradually up and around the peaks at the top of this cliff. The path is kind of littered with these like white, what you would think would be rocks, but as you look, kind of as you're crunching on them, little seashells, and it looks like people have maybe grabbed them from the shore and then, drop them as they're kind of coming up this cliffside. At the peak of this C-shaped path, there is some torii gates that you're kind of going through. Those are like the like H style like frames. At the top of this cliff, there's like a little shrine here. And Shizenno, you noticed that there are two little kappa figures that you had left here before. And so the tradition is that you would pick these up because you're coming back home, essentially, because you have to pass through your town in order to get to the palace.
Yeah, I'll take them. It was a gold and a silver one?
Yes. Yep. And you have the Electrum one. Well, I guess you have all three now. So, and you all see like other little sort of trinkets and odds and ends, little things hung up around this shrine as well. And then the rest of the path kind of goes in another C shape facing the opposite way down, away from the cliffside and down towards a river. Down this path, there's like a huge river running through. It looks like a little town where all of the buildings are kind of like on these little stilts. The river is lined with these like bright pink cherry blossoms, and so this is the Chickadee clan lives here.
This place is pretty. It'd be nice if it wasn't tainted by murder.
I imagine there would be motifs that I've seen on like Shizenno's armor that would be reflected in the general decor, right?
Yeah, you actually see like a lot of chickadees kind of like all over the place, more so than you would probably anywhere else, even if they're like in a big swarm. Yeah.
My helmet is also chickadee shaped, and I have a chickadee on my shield.
Hey Shizenno, as much as I'm mad at you right now, I want to know what's up with all the chickadees.
This is like the home region of the Chickadee clan. It's where I was born.
What's so special about chickadees?
We're close by a river that seems to attract them.
They sure are cute. I do have to wonder though, what does the meat taste like?
What? You could eat something else.
Well, I'm not saying I'm going to eat one. I'm just saying I'm curious.
But what if one of these chickadees happened to murder their daughter and their wife? Then could we eat them?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Are we gonna meet your family? Do we have a happy reunion where we get to tell your parents that you're that you're a murderer?
I'd be pretty proud, honestly.
Yeah, so somewhere along the river, close to one of the cherry trees that kind of like arches over the river is where Shizenno brings you.
Just a tree?
There's a house there, but it's very, very modest. It's like basically just like a tree house on stilts instead of a tree, and half of it kind of dips into the river.
Cute.
I'll go knock on the door.
Your parents answer the door. You see two very slender, pale looking people with like long, silky black hair. It looks like they were just swimming, actually. They seem like they're
It's a fucking ring.
dripping with water. And they're like, oh, we haven't seen you in quite some time. How's it been going at the palace?
It's been good. I've been away though. I've been traveling. I've been traveling out to Faerun. I'm just visiting. We were going to the palace right now, actually.
You brought some visitors.
Yeah, they wanted to meet you.
Okay.
I'm gonna awkwardly look at Wyatt. There they are.
Howdy. What do you know about someone named Rydell O'Lyra?
Wow, straight to the point, huh?
Are you telling parents on me?
No, who is that?
Traitor to the
I'll say
throne.
I'll elbow Shizenno. If you don't know about them, I guess it's not really that important. They may become important later on, though. Who knows?
No, they won't. They're dead.
Yeah, they are. unfortunately. What do you know about the emperor?
Oh,
Or what do you know about the death of the empress and the emperor's daughter?
they side-eye each other and they say, what happened a long time ago.
Do you know who did it?
No, I think it was some elf.
And you're completely satisfied with just knowing that your country's leader
I'm gonna
was
nudge
murdered
Wyatt.
by some elf. Okay.
Well, the
Hey, Wyatt.
Chickadee clan doesn't, we don't really take much to be sated in our life. So whatever happens outside of here is not too big of a deal to us.
Pretty much everything we do is to serve the Emperor, honestly. Everything we produce goes to him.
Sorry, Wyatt forgot to take his medicine today.
I'll step back. So now we have this awkward air between our group and Shizenno's parents.
So did we come here to interrogate my parents, or are we going in, or...
Whatever you want to do, Shizenno.
I'm going to the palace. I don't know why we came here.
You know what? I'm going to take a step forward again, and I'm going to say, how's it been? How's life been under the rule of the Emperor?
Oh, seems fine. The river hasn't changed much. Kind of
What
just
do you mean?
go with the flow.
You can stay away from it, though. It's fine.
What's so special about the river? Is that, has the river ever changed?
With twists and turns, but mostly stays the same.
The river does look pretty nice. Can we go splash around in it a little bit?
You could do that. Just, treat it with respect. And you see them visibly wringing their hands a little bit when you say that.
Why does the river deserve respect?
Well,
It does seem like a nice river.
it gives us everything, that we need. It gives us water, love that.
Shizenno likes water too.
Water and what?
Well, the water is the main part of it. I mean, we use it to grow crops and stuff, and then that's, what we eat.
What's the name of this river?
It's just the river.
The river, does it have a name? Like River White Graves or...
No, we would never name the river after somebody. It's the river.
Where does the river start?
Somewhere near the palace.
So it starts somewhere near the palace.
Mm-hmm. We don't normally go towards the palace.
Why not?
So we have everything we need right here.
Do you know where the river ends?
The ocean, I think.
Do you know if the river is fed by a natural spring, a glacier,
Not sure.
some sort of artificial means?
I don't know what that would be.
Do you drink the water?
Yeah.
Is it good
Have
water?
you ever lived anywhere besides here?
I wouldn't dream of it.
Have you ever drinking from anywhere besides the river?
No. Well, sometimes there's rain. A little bit of that gets on my lips.
Does that taste any different than the water from the river?
It doesn't have as much flavor,
How did y'all feel about the Empress when she was, ruling?
They look at each other again with the same look. One of them says, it was okay.
I'll say, do you have any issues with the way she was ruling at all?
Absolutely not.
Do you have somewhere private we can talk?
We don't really have privacy. I mean, we just have a place where we sleep. That's it.
You two and just me. I just want to have a little conversation about, how things have been going with your daughter,
Can I walk over to the river while Wyatt's talking to them?
I'm eyeing Arrow very, very suspiciously.
Just gonna kneel down and get a closer look at the water, maybe take a sip of it.
Because I'm going to follow Arrow.
The parents are also kind of they seem on edge. They're like, what are they doing? Where are they going?
I'm just thirsty.
I'll actually walk up right behind her and just kind of watch.
How far away are they?
15, 20 feet, but they're outside of the house. So
I'll step into the house. Is the house just one room?
yeah.
And I will get close to both parents. I'll stick my head in between them. I have reason to believe that Shizenno is not capable of critical thinking, and I'd like to know what you all know about the Empress and her murder. Very quiet.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know what you're talking about.
What does the river water taste like?
It's really minerally. It has almost like a copper taste to it.
Is there anywhere safe we can talk?
Everywhere's safe. You notice that when they said that, they kind of looked over towards, there's a little cascade in the river where it's more turbulent. You get the feeling they would feel safe over there because it's louder. Yeah.
Why don't you give me a kind of a tour of what makes this river special or interesting? Give me a tour of the river.
Sure. I mean, we could point out some different things of it. They go towards the back of this house, which is one room. They push open these double doors, and this is the part where the house dips into the river, and they kind of go down almost like a slide, except it's 5 or 6 feet wide. It's about 3 or 4 feet long.
Oh, so the back door just opens up.
Into the river, yeah.
Is that where the swirly is?
No, they start like swimming over there.
Okay, I guess I will also swim.
Yes, you'll see and hear Wyatt and your parents dip into the river and then start swimming up.
I'm just splashing my face with the water and putting it in my hair.
It's very cold. So y'all are at this like cascade right now.
I'll say enough so that they can hear me, but just barely. I'll say, do you feel safe talking to me here?
What did you need to say?
I have reason to believe that the Empress may have not been killed by an elf. I'll say, what do you know about that? I swear I will not turn you into the authorities. I'll use my inspiration to persuade them into believing that I won't turn them in.
You know, it's interesting. Shizenno is 1 year older than the amount of time it's been since the Empress's death. And then they start swimming back.
I'll try and stop them. I'll say, how old was the Emperor's daughter when the Empress was killed?
They continue to swim down the river. Shizenno's father and mother like both wave to Shizenno. Behind the mother's back, she's behind her back and she is holding up a 1.
I'll head back to the house.
Yes, you see Wyatt hang back a little bit after your parents swim away from over by the cascade, and then
I'm following them back to where the rest of the group is.
Yeah, so Wyatt waited there for a second and then followed.
I'll go join Shizenno and Arrow at the river.
Hey, Wyatt.
Like, hey Shizenno, isn't this the river that you told me never to go near?
Yeah.
Does this bother you? Does this bother you when I put my hands in it and put it in my face?
You see a little bit of dirt like kind of come off of Arrow's hands into the river.
I say no, but I look really pissed off.
I'll say what's so
Arrow's
important?
smirking while she's doing it.
I'll say what's so important about keeping this river clean and respected? What makes it different than any other body of water?
It's our home.
But isn't your home that house?
No.
Why not?
We don't really keep possessions.
Then what is that house?
It's basically just like where they would sleep. That's pretty much it. Just like a extra temperature control for like the winter, because it's still technically winter. It's like towards the end of it, but then basically it's not used after that.
All right, I'll explain that then.
What makes this river so special? Why?
Wyatt, are you religious at all?
No, I mean I'm religious in the way that I like don't like devils and demons, but like I don't necessarily worship one specific deity.
My hometown of Blue Leaf is built in the blue leaves, but we don't tend to chop them down to make our house. We tend to import wood from elsewhere because it's special.
I mean, we belong to this river, so we need to protect it.
Might not be for everybody, but I mean, as an elf, I understand that native homelands are very important to all different types of people.
Arrow feels kind of bad and stops splashing in the water.
There could be a like sacredness that isn't inherently religious, but is still culturally very important.
You may say there's spirits living in it.
Can I do like an Arcana check on the river?
You kind of see sort of similar patterns, like if someone were to cast like a healing spell or something, you kind of see like similar motion in the river.
Interesting. I do have a water skin. Can I like scoop up some of the water?
Mm-hmm. You do that.
She's uncomfortable, but she won't say anything.
Does it have healing properties? Can you tell me that now that I've like removed it from the river, or is it specifically the river? Should I do another Arcana check on the water skin?
You can make me a history check. Do you think it has healing properties? You're like, I get it now.
That seems pretty on brand.
Probably start heading out soon, huh? Aren't you going to say bye to your parents? Shizenno.
Yeah, I'll go say bye to them, I guess.
I'll very intently observe their interactions.
All right, I'm gonna go over to them and just ask them what Wyatt asked.
I'm coming with you. I'm observing you. I'm watching you, and you're just gonna have the audacity.
Well, I'll say, did Wyatt say anything good about me?
Of course, nothing but good things to say about Shizenno. Am I right?
So you sense some sarcasm in Wyatt's voice.
I am very hurt by this.
I'm also hurt, to be fair.
All right, well, we're going to the palace. I don't know, I just sound like sad. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Because she murdered an innocent person in front of her boss and expects to get a promotion.
A guilty person for my actual boss. Yeah, we have to head to the palace. We have some work to do. Important business. Yeah, do your thing. Stop in whenever you want. Will do.
All right.
I'll hang back maybe like 100 feet from the pack and just say bye. 100 feet is a lot, maybe 50. Yeah. As we're leaving, I'll whisper to the parents. I'll say, I'll get to the bottom of this. I'll basically like give them a wink and a nudge and let them know that I'm on the case.
Are you saying I'll get to the bottom of this?
Yeah.
The mother says, "Careful."
Always am, miss.
She shakes her head. So y'all are heading towards the palace?
Yeah. I was going to say we have some very unpleasant news for the Emperor.
I have some very good news.
What would be unpleasant for the Emperor?
That he got rid of the 2 women that could usurp his power, but we know that one of them's alive.
I'll ask Shizenno, what was it like growing up with your parents?
We mostly just did a lot of farming for the Emperor, gathered resources. I didn't grow up with them for very long.
How long did you spend with them?
About 18 years.
What's your first memory living with your parents, or somewhere else?
I honestly don't remember a whole lot before moving in with the Emperor, or moving into the palace anyway. I just remember doing a lot of farming.
And what is it that your family farms?
It's not so much that my family farms it, it's just the clan in general. We all just gather resources together. We don't keep much. We keep like the bare minimum and all work together and just share the wealth.
So your family harvests resources, gives them to the Emperor, and then the Emperor does what with them?
What he wants.
Okay. Have you ever wondered what the Emperor does with it? What if he's just keeping it for himself? What if he is growing fat and happy on your resources?
That I could help.
Why is the Emperor so important to you? What has what has he done to prove himself as such an important, unquestionable figure?
He runs the entire country.
Yeah, but what makes him worthy of
himself.
that? Yeah, but what makes him worthy of that?
The Emperor's efforts to keep the taint at bay is a big part of what the shoguns do. That's kind of why the palace, the Jade Palace, is made of jade, is because it has basically like taint immunity properties. Usually there's no like taint able to get into the palace.
Yeah, I'll mention that too then. Maybe not the palace part, but at least the keeping the taint at bay part.
You remember anyone talking about the Empress when you were a kid?
I assume very little other than she was killed, right?
Did the Emperor ever remarry?
No.
How long do your people live? If he lost his wife and daughter, does the Emperor not have an heir?
How long do my people live? Or how long as long as the Emperor lives?
I am assuming you are the same people because I wouldn't know otherwise.
I mean, do I know the race of the Emperor?
Yeah, so you know that the Emperor is a mountain spirit folk. They just look like weird humans.
Yeah, you guys were paddling around in the river Styx, and I didn't want anything to do with that. So,
Tasted pretty good.
but I was asking as an elf who's just like, yeah, my people can live for hundreds, over 1,000 years. So, like, there's no rush to really have kids.
700 years.
Yeah, no rush then.
They're considered an adult at 110.
Roughly elves.
Hey, Shizenno, growing up, did you hear anything about the Emperor's daughter?
Nope. Other than she was killed.
Aren't you curious about your past leaders? History and all.
Killed by an elf.
Yeah, but aren't you interested in what they did, how they ruled, what their significance is, how they died? Like,
Nope.
interesting, huh?
Really? Otherwise I would have looked into it.
Are there any, history books that kind of talk about your past leaders?
Only for the higher-ups.
I'll probably leave Shizenno alone. I don't think I'm going to get any answers from her at this point, unfortunately.
There's an extended period of time where we're just walking but awkwardly not talking. It's a cantrip, so I can just keep doing it. I'll just start messaging Wyatt. What were you saying with Shizenno's parents? Then I would also say, I'm just using message. It's just me and you. It's not all of us connected.
Then I would probably repeat what Shizenno's parents said. I would say, isn't it interesting that the Empress was killed 1 year after Shizenno was born?
Rydell said the daughter got away.
Curious, huh?
I'm just looking at birds.
Significantly less chickadees this direction. They kind of all seem to be flying in the direction of the river. So as you're walking along, there's a lot of muddy paths and stuff. Occasionally you'll come across some wooden slats to help the path where it's kind of eroded away a little bit. And off in the distance you start to see small buildings popping up. The sounds of kind of like a city. You get the hint of some good food being cooked. And Erlyn says, we're gonna make a stop before we head in towards the palace.
Does it have anything to do with this food that I smell? These good meats?
She says it's
Quite an alluring scent.
It does, but we can eat after.
Say, all right.
Yeah, so you head into this town. It seems like the very source of this smell is coming from this alley that Erlyn leads y'all into. She's basically leading you into the back of a kitchen. There's a whole bunch of workers here, and they see her and they kind of clear out and go into the restaurant. And you see a whole bunch of wizards with purple scarves. And it looks like they're all kind of chanting and casting this same spell over and over in this one spot. Seems like the area where they would store like their trash, but it's been like cleared to the sides. One of them looks like they finished casting this spell. They go up to Erlin and she says, how are we doing? How close are we to being done? And he responds, and he says, it looks like we'll need a few more days. You said you had at least one more person coming? And she says, yes, one of my best. Says Scooter. The wizard that she's talking to nods in acknowledgement. So maybe he's seen Scooter or talked to them before. And he says, oh, that's good. That'll cut down our time by at least a day. So, all right, time to eat. And leads you back out the alleyway.
And as she's leading us away, I'd ask her, what was that about?
It's just a contingency plan if things don't go as well as we need.
I'll say, are you anticipating that?
No, just from what I understand, the Emperor can be difficult to work with. So we may get what we need, but how we get it might be different than we're expecting. But hopefully everything goes well. So.
All right.
And you head around to what seems to be like the front of this restaurant. It's like a whole bunch of bar seating. And she says, oh, pick a spot. It's all on me.
I'll pick a spot next to Shizenno.
Okay.
I'll be very happy about it.
I'll be observing Shizenno. But, like, not obviously. Where is the Emperor from?
He's lived pretty much his entire life in the palace.
Was he born in the palace?
Yeah.
What about his parents? What do you know about them?
Nothing. They're not important. They're not the Emperor.
What does the Emperor look like?
Bulky chest and round head.
What race is the Emperor? I'll just straight up say it.
Mountain spirit folk.
Are there any other mountain folk around these parts? Is that unique?
I'd imagine there's a bunch anywhere there's mountains. Definitely some in the palace.
Why do you say definitely some in the palace? Oh, because they're wealthier?
Because they're on a mountain.
The palace is on a mountain. While everyone is eating, is there like a bathroom or something I can sneak off to?
Yeah.
I'm going to take out my crystal ball of scrying. And would you say that I have secondhand knowledge you've heard of the target for the Emperor's daughter? It's either knowledge, secondhand, firsthand, familiar, certainly not. Connection, likeness or picture, possession or garment, body part, lock of hair, bit of nail, or the like.
It's secondhand.
You have heard of the target.
Yeah, yep.
So they would get a +5 on their wisdom saving throw. I'm going to use my portent of 4 for the day. So it's 9 plus whatever their wisdom is.
Hey, Shizenno, what's your wisdom?
1.
Cool. So it's a 10, so you fail. So yeah, now that I am scrying on you, I'm going to take a moment to compose myself and not look like, white as a ghost. And then come back out of the bathroom and then sit down and lean behind everybody at the bar and message Wyatt and be like, hey boss,
I'll say yes.
I did a little of my my divination. I would say that not only is the Emperor's daughter alive and well, it seems like she's making a bit of a homecoming, and try to lean back to catch Wyatt's eye and then shake my head towards Shizenno.
I mean, even though Wyatt is very surprised to have that information confirmed, he will compose himself and will not show it very much. And I'll message to Abby. I'll say, good work, Abby. Thank you for confirming that for me.
So I feel like this is obviously something that has gotten at least one person killed already. So this should probably be a last resort bit of information should anything happen.
Since you have the ability to message people, it might make sense to alert Erlin.
Yeah, this feels like if we are ready to start a war sort of information, because us knowing this would probably mean this whole empire would want us dead. So
yep, we'll keep it on a need-to-know basis at this point.
And then I poke around at my food, but I'm definitely too nervous to keep eating.
Are you going to tell Erlin?
I'm going to be thinking about it for a little bit.
Okay.
Because I also don't know what her and the wizards are doing.
True.
So I don't want their plan to be instead of making a portal to get out of here, we'll summon a fucking army.
As everybody starts to finish up, Erlin says, all right, I want to, dust off any dandruff you have and put back any flyaways you have. Next stop is the palace.
Alrighty.
Since I'm not really eating, as everyone is finishing up, I'll go back to the bathroom and put on my good clothes, my signet ring, all that fancy stuff.
Yeah, so as you get closer and closer to the palace, you start to see like parts of it peeking up from the horizon here, and you're also starting to climb like a slight incline. The buildings they're more scattered, and looks to be like there's a whole bunch of wheat crops almost like surrounding the palace, and there's a whole bunch of windmills. And then you see on the left side of one of the larger buildings, there's like a big chunk kind of taken from it, and there's like smoke. It doesn't look like it's actively pouring out, but it's like kind of like hanging in the air. And you see on that side, part of the like fortification wall that's like made out of jade has been like torn away from the palace as well. And there are a whole bunch of shogun kind of guarding this giant gate that you're heading towards. Erlen goes up there, and you see her talking with a couple of the shogun that are up there, and they look past, and they're kind of looking at Shizenno, and they kind of motion for Shizenno to come up with Erlen. They ask Shizenno if Shizenno can verify that like Erlen's telling truth about them being there to help the emperor, and that they have like a meeting with the emperor and stuff. They kind of move to the side and let y'all through. As you enter, one of the shoguns look like they were going to escort all of you, but then they see Shizenno's with you, so they're like, oh, never mind. And so Erlen says to Shizenno, I haven't been here before, but could you bring us to the emperor's visiting chambers, I guess? Behind one of the broken walls when you guys were walking in, you saw some like giant boats. They were like styled like centipedes, kind of being stored like in that area.
I'd probably want to take everyone's weapons, right?
Yeah.
I'll just communicate that to the party. I need to confiscate any weapons.
Can I like tuck my sword into my armor?
Are you doing that right now?
Yeah, I'm like trying to like hide it.
Erlen hands over her sword.
Everyone else?
I'm just gonna look away, like look at the ceiling.
I'll also say, what happens if we have to defend the emperor?
While you're visiting him?
Yeah.
If he had to be defended, it would be from us.
What makes you say that?
We're the only ones there. What do you mean?
Yeah, but you never know what might happen.
Yeah, I'll have my weapons. It's okay. There's also other shogun, and we're not alone.
Are the other shogun as like powerful as Shizenno?
Stronger.
A little baby shogun. They're like the greatest warriors of the country defending the emperor. Like they're not going to be weak.
Arrow's just really scared of getting rid of her sword now.
So I'd hand over my weapons.
I will give you my spell book and then ask that you keep it on your person because it is literally irreplaceable.
Keep it very safe. I'll store it in my armor somewhere so that they can't pull it out of my bag or anything. Was there anyone else?
No.
Don't think so.
Nobody else has a weapon.
Wait, I mean, what did you hide?
The sword.
I stuffed my sword in my
sword,
armor. Yeah.
the one sword that you carry everywhere?
Yeah.
I mean, where is it?
Where's what?
Where's your sword?
I don't know. I must have dropped it or something earlier.
Can you call it back real quick?
I think it'll be fine where it is right now.
I roll insight. I mean, Shizenno is dumb.
It is feasible that Arrow would leave it somewhere because she can recall it.
Makes sense to me, I guess. Is there somewhere we would generally store equipment like this, like during meetings?
There's like a place like right kind of like outside the thing. It's like a chest that you'd like put them in.
Yeah, I'll lead the party to that and store everything and then lead them to the audience chamber.
Yeah, so in here, there are 12 alcoves, shogun standing in each of the alcoves with these like large glaives and naganatas. There's a red carpet that kind of leads up a few steps. Where there would be a throne, there's like crumbling jade, and there's a giant hole in the ceiling. It looks like there's some workers still like trying to like bring in slabs of jade and like repair this area, but they're still kind of working on that. A few of the people you see logging in slabs of jade look to be harpers. They have their purple scarves on. And out from one of the side doors at the back of the room come a few people dressed in these like green jade-colored robes. One of them says the emperor will be out shortly. He asks for you specifically, actually, and points to Shizenno.
Sounds good.
As you walk over there, two of the shogun from closest to where you are come out and like escort you over there. So you step into this room. This seems to be the emperor's like private chambers. He says, "I hear you've been doing great things out there in Faerun. The embassy seems to be moving along quite well."
I'm putting as much money into it as I can. Seems like it's getting close to done.
Says, "Yeah, that's great. That's one of the reasons why we enlisted the river folk and of the Chickadee clan, they have no possessions. It works out well for the Empire. Now we can't have you representing me with that rusty old scrap that you're wearing. So we will be sizing you up for a new set of armor. And then one of the green robed people comes in and they start like pulling off your armor. And then like sizing, like you're like taking measurements basically. And as you're doing this, the emperor is kind of like walking around his bedroom. He puts on this necklace from like his like selection of things over there. He has some like plants kind of like all around this, like it's a pretty lavish bedroom. Lots of like golden things, lots of statues. And there's like vines of like ivy and stuff all over the place. But you notice that near their sort of this dresser thing that has all of their jewelry and trinkets and stuff, a lot of the leaves and stuff are dying near this area. And he puts on this necklace. It looks like mostly gold, but in the middle there's this big pink crystal that's kind of like hanging down. And then you see him putting on some like other trinkets and stuff. He's like preparing to like meet with people. He then walks over to the other side of the room to grab like a giant robe. And you actually see one of these plants that he has there kind of start to wilt a little bit. And then he yells for one of the green robe people to come in. He has them take it out and yells at them for placing dying plants in his living quarters. So you just have like your kind of like basic whatever you wear under your armor on right now, your under armor.
And a book.
Yes, and a book.
I hope that's not suspicious. I have a spell book on me, but
he looks over as you're doing that.
Well, I guess I have all my weapons on me, so I guess it's probably fine.
You have your weapon, but not. Yeah. We'll say that you're just like holding both of these as this person's taking measurements. He says to you, "Oh, getting into reading. Interesting."
Well, it's more for spells. I'm just holding it for a friend. It's not mine, I promise.
He says to the person that's measuring you, and says, "Put a space in there for pockets. That's you shouldn't be putting the books in there like that."
Thank you.
Kind of a mailbox on your hip.
Do I find the wilting plant suspicious at all? Like, would I put that together with something like taint?
It is noticeable. I mean, you've seen basically the zombies that have been infected with taint, like once they're too far gone, kind of have that effect on things.
Do I recognize the pink gem in the necklace at all?
No. He starts yelling at the person to like hurry up. He seems like very agitated. But before I meet with your associates, we'll have the donning ceremony. It's basically like when you rank up in the shoguns, there's like a ceremony for you to get your armor that basically says you're like at a higher rank. The person in the green robe kind of like escorts you out of the room, basically has you kneel in the spot in front of where the throne would be. And you see more like shoguns spill into this room, but they're outfitted with like drums. And so they're like beating these drums to a beat. The emperor comes out and two of the people in green have the armor and they're kind of like holding it up. And the emperor says, to represent me in their diplomatic works in Faerun, Shizenno, he like looks at a piece of paper that he has, will be awarded this.
Are we witnessing this, or is it happening behind?
You're all kind of like standing there.
This must be really awkward.
There's also, I mean, Shizenno's standing there in like her like underwear basically.
Yeah. So are there any other like non-shogun around? Are they like a bowing or kneeling or?
They were actually like ushered out of the room, and some like fancily dressed people are like kind of standing like where y'all are standing as well.
Is there like a grand gesture? Is there like a curtsy or a bow or anything as the emperor comes out of like respect? Are we being impolite by just awkwardly standing? Yeah,
I guess like pretty much everybody is like kneeling except for the shogun.
So yeah, I would at least like get down on one knee, like pull everybody down with me.
So they say that you're now like a higher rank, and then they start outfitting you with this armor, as they tell you specifically to rise up. And after you are outfitted with this armor, everybody kind of stands up and claps, except for the shogun. The two who are putting on your armor go into another side room. The fancily dressed people kind of like clear out, like they kind of came here just for that. And then the shogun with the drums clear out as well. And then somebody wheels in like this big, almost like a couch, kind of, and the Emperor sits on that. So you've come here to recover my throne. Erlen kind of approaches. So Shizenno, you have splint mail now.
Did he take my chainmail?
Yeah. The Emperor states, so one of the islands to the west of Wa called Shidekima, there is a species, an endangered species of gargantuan reptiles that live in the Death Meadow, which is aptly named because they live there.
Are we near the west coast?
Kind of. You're a little bit more inland from it.
Can I roll any sort of insight during the ceremony, during their interactions, that would, like, clue me into how he feels about her?
You get the feeling that, like, this ceremony seems like just like a task that he kind of just wants to get done.
So I wouldn't assume that he's particularly fond of Shizenno.
No.
He thinks his daughter is dead. It is a scandalous secret that she's alive.
Did you say that he read my name off of a piece of paper, or just the... Yeah, so he doesn't even know my name.
Yeah, this is a fill-in-the-blank ceremony for Shizenno today.
Barely aware that I exist. Never mind, as his daughter.
If it was a matrilineal ruling, with his wife out of the way, he's in charge. The only person who could possibly usurp him is his only daughter. Like, I don't know if that's through marriage or if he just married into her and a daughter, and that means his daughter would definitely be next in line if the mother died. I'm not quite sure, but I specifically asked Shizenno what the Empress and her daughter's name was, because Abby also is not sure how all of the family is related. Does Shizenno look like a river folk?
Yes.
How, like, what is the Emperor like?
He seems pretty hardy, not very hastily at all, kind of just going about the motions of the day. He's, like, bored. I mean, they're a person in charge, so they're pretty pompous. You can tell that they don't really care about the people around them. They don't seem dumb, but they don't seem super smart.
Would Shizenno's devotion to this person make sense to me once I see this person?
Not really. I mean, it's more so because it's, like, ingrained in the culture. You could hear them yelling a little bit from the other room, and then you see
running around with dead plants.
Right, and then people, like, rushing in and out of the room with, like, stuff. So take from that what you will as well.
Did I see where that dead plant went, by the way?
They like took it away into, like, one of the side rooms where they reeled out the, like, cushiony seat thing. You all also see this pink, like, crystal necklace as well.
Like, is it like quartz?
You haven't seen this stone before, so. Abby, this looks like the crystal that you saw in your vision. You can kind of see, like, a slight pulse to it, something magical about it. You've seen that type of pulse before, but you haven't seen, like, a crystal like this before.
Where have I seen that pulse?
Components and, like, using crystals and spells and stuff like that.
So Shizenno isn't naked anymore?
Your armor also isn't of the Chickadee clan anymore. It's kind of this, like, general...
Imperial.
Yeah, you see, like...
Stormtrooper now.
Half of these shogun that you passed by coming in here were wearing.
That includes the helmet?
Yes.
Can I, like, cast Detect Magic on the Emperor's necklace?
In the direction of the Emperor, you're getting lots of necromancy and transmutation.
And divination from my spellbook.
Abjuration from, like, the walls, like wherever there's jade.
So I have the free action of casting Detect Good and Evil for the duration. You know if there's an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know if there's a place or object within 30 feet of you that's been magically consecrated or desecrated.
Yeah, where the throne was.
It's desecrated.
Yeah. The necromancy and the transmutation that you were getting was from the necklace that he was wearing, not from the Emperor himself. Are you trying to hide that, Arrow?
Yeah.
So 4 of the shogun surround Arrow, point their glaives and naginatas, and say, "What did this demon just say?"
I didn't say anything.
I look very embarrassed.
Assuming you're referring to me, I didn't say anything.
You see Erlen looks like backwards, and she's like, "What are you doing?"
I'll say, I didn't hear anything.
And another one says, "This devil woman was spouting out magic, I'm sure of it."
No, I was just saying a prayer that I got to meet such a wonderful person as the Emperor.
So Abby and Arrow, you notice that when you say this, the Emperor kind of, like, gives you, like, a little side eye, but then goes back to kind of looking normal. The Shogun kind of, like, stand up, but they're still pointing their weapons at you, and the Emperor kind of waves them off to the side. Let me finish my meeting with them. So as I was saying, he's explaining to Erlen, basically that these gargantua, well, one of them came from over there and attacked the palace, ate a whole bunch of jade from the stuff that they destroyed, as well as swallowed the throne, kind of to inform all of you. But Erlen kind of knows that the throne should most likely be intact because it's made out of adamantine, and basically that if you all want the throne, you know, he's having another one made in its likeness because he had kind of grown fond of that one, like the style and design of it. Yeah, I mean, if you want it, you can go get it. I hope you're sending more workers to help rebuild the palace, basically to kind of offset losing this throne that he was given a long time ago by one of the lords of Waterdeep. Shizenno, you hearing that, you know that the emperor, basically the emperor or the empress, whoever is in charge of like the palace, usually has the ability to defend the palace from these monsters, which they rarely attack, but when they do, it's like maybe once every 100 or so years. But when they do, normally they don't get this far. So you could probably assume maybe the emperor was busy with something.
I'll assume that we need stronger shoguns. It's because I wasn't here.
Sounds like we are going to the west coast of Wa. Take a little vacation.
It sounds like my kind of mission.
Can I find the side room, or like would I know which side room the plant went into now that people are leaving?
Yeah.
Can I head in there real quick?
Yep.
Just take a quick side trip.
Do I feel like I'd be able to snoop at all, or does it seem like I'm being ushered out?
Yeah, it seems like there's more eyes on you than normal.
Can I glean anything just by looking around? Anything that might be relating to like the magic that I detected off of the necklace?
You get a slight glimpse as you're passing by one of the armories to go outside. You could have sworn you saw like almost like a mine cart that had like pink crystals in it. But then you go to look and you don't see it. You like do like a double take and you don't see it.
Weird. Was it like in a door and the door got shut, or was it like down a hallway and it just disappeared? Or
somebody was like pushing it.
Okay.
So it was like went by very quickly. So you're like, was that what I saw? I don't know.
I just want to see if I can find the plant.
Yeah, so the plant is in there. There's actually like 12 of them in there. There's also like various like shapes and sizes of different like couches of varying plush. It looks like there's some stacks of jade slabs in here, as well as some like tools and stuff. Seems like a storage area for stuff in this like general area.
See if I can sense any taint on the plants.
You're not entirely sure, but you have like an inkling that says yes.
Now, this is the Jade Palace. Is there any jade around
Mhm.
to get this room?
Yeah, there's slabs of it.
Oh, slab. Anyone around?
No, it's just you in here.
Can I just take like a chip off of one of those slabs?
Sure.
And touch it to the plant and see if it reacts?
Yeah, it kind of springs to life a little bit, just a little bit.
I don't know what to do with this information.
What?
I'll pop out. Do I see any other shogun around?
Yeah, they're like scattered about, like just standing in place.
I'm just gonna call over the nearest one.
They go over there.
I'm gonna explain the plant, and I'm going to tell him that I think the emperor is in danger. Someone may be spreading taint throughout palace. Specifically, some may have spread right in the emperor's room. So we need to keep a very close eye.
They say, you don't think it was that devil woman from earlier, do you?
She's tainted in a different way.
My detect good and evil also detects creatures infected with taint.
You detected the emperor.